Welcome, everybody, to the show here from the Back Studios in sunny Ohio. It wasn't actually even sunny today, but welcome, Dan, to the stream. Welcome, everybody watching. We've already got 30 plus people and 30 plus comments. If I'm working a little slow tonight, it's because I'm in agonizing pain just sitting in this chair, and I am not as heavily medicated as I ought to be. Hopefully, we'll be fixing that tomorrow. So, welcome everybody. Don't forget the code is in the banner here, in the ticker. RD Dookie for Noble Knight. That'll get you 10% off with Noble Knight. But tomorrow is the last day for that. So
you got it.
Noble Knight is starting another big sale, and their codes, like the people codes, don't stack with the sales. So sorry about that. So, Dan, did you get to play anything this week before we start talking about how it's all your fault?
Well, I played the Space Empires 4X.
Oh, awesome. What'd you think of that?
No, I played it before. I played it, but I only played the solo part. This time I played with my son-in-law, and it was good, man.
Okay. Yeah, that's a great game. I love that game. I can't wait till the final expansion comes out in its 4-inch box. Even the 4-inch box will still not be big enough to put all the stuff in it, but we do what we can, right? I think with the combine the 3-inch box and the 4-inch box, and then I got enough space to store all the game components.
I mean, it was our first game, but I found it, and it's not the bookkeeping that was tedious. It's just getting used to moving around. This was not supposed to move around. This colony, it can only give you this if you have that, and you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely right. Somebody has pointed out that there's a typo. Who caught that? Vince Ree, thank you very much. That's what happens when I type up the ticker in agonizing pain. So it's worse today than it was yesterday, by the way. I have been able to spend virtually no time sitting. I've spent the entire day lying down.
I can't even see the chat now because I'm on my iPad. Cripe.
Oh, isn't there like an arrow in the corner or something that you could see to expand the chat? Something like that. I don't know. I don't have an iPad. I can't afford an iPad. They don't pay me enough. William Burns points out that you're a little staticky, Dan, which I'm noticing as well, but I don't think it's too bad. I think that's just because you're on the iPad.
My computer's shot. I'm gonna get a new computer, man.
Oh dear. That's expensive.
Yeah. $2,000.
Micro Center had like $399. I think that is about $2,000 in Canadian money. i5 laptop. I didn't know. Not in the market for laptops, so I didn't know what the rest of the specs were. But you may not have to spend that. I'm gonna eventually flip the saggy shelf. I've just got to fix it. They're cheap shelves. What do you want?
No, I'm getting a Mac Mini.
Oh, Mac. Oh, okay. So that's like $5,000 then.
Yeah.
So sorry about that. I mean, if you're a Mac guy, you're a Mac guy. You're stuck with it, right? But
that's right.
So every time I go and buy a phone, right, and hopefully that's not every 2 years because I'm not one of those people that needs a new phone every 2 years. So I had an iPhone for work that was like the work phone for a couple of years. I mean, I didn't hate it as a device. I actually thought it worked well. It had nice little pretty compact form factor. I don't hate the phones. But then when I go to buy a phone, I'm always like, okay, here's what this amount of money will get me for an iPhone. And here's what this amount of money will get me for a Samsung phone. And I end up buying a Samsung phone.
Yeah.
So, because I save like hundreds of dollars doing it that way for basically the same capabilities of the phones. Now I'm kind of invested in the Google ecosystem in that, I got my 5 YouTube accounts and the 3 emails or 4 emails and other stuff and all that, which I'd have to, kind of make work with the Apple stuff. But I would be willing to do that if I was convinced it was the better buy on the phone.
Yeah, but you're a computer guy, so you can fiddle around. I'm surprised.
Yeah, there's a big difference between being a computer guy. I'm a PC guy, right? I'm like a desktop, maybe laptop computer guy, not a mobile phones guy. I did do mobile phone support for a while, but I totally hated it. They're absolutely obnoxious. And the Apple phones are hard to support, but that doesn't um, that doesn't mean that they're bad phones for consumers. That just means they're hard to support.
How come you're
So
not running Linux?
I have well, right now it's because I don't have an extra PC running to run Linux on. All my software runs on Windows, and that's not going to change. And you can get most things to run on Linux one way or the other, but you've got to monkey with it to make that happen. At some point, now that I have, more or less as much space as I've ever wanted, I will set up like a home network with a server and all that, and that server will run Linux. So, and I might end up, even before that, I might end up converting one of the old laptops to Linux. Who knows?
Hey, going back to Space Empires, Artie, your opinion, should we keep playing Space Empires, or should I go on to another game and another game and another game and just, touch the beginnings of the games?
So my recommendation is usually to stick with the one game, right? As long as you continue to enjoy it. If it gets old for you, then you can move on. You can always move on to something else. But I would recommend, I envy those people who can like sit with one game and just play it over and over and over again and get really good at it. I'm not that kind of person. I tend to move from game to game, and I'm trying to limit that. I haven't been totally unsuccessful at limiting that, but I'm not as far with limiting that as I'd like to be either, right? I've still got a lot of different game systems floating around.
Did you play any expansions from the Space Empires?
I have not played any of the expansion stuff. No, I would master the base game first. There's plenty of material there. It's not like you're going to run out of material. There's solitaire stuff. There's tons of solitaire stuff. The expansions just add more options. I do like a lot of the expansion content, like the species cards or whatever they're called. I like those. I like a lot of the ideas in the expansions. And they don't bloat the game too bad. That's a classic expansion problem where the game becomes unrecognizably bloated after a while. And that's not really the case with Space Empires 4X.
No, Jim Crone seems to be very streamlined.
Yeah. And I don't know what Google is even doing now. I would love to turn this off. Why is it not going away? Okay. Now it's going away. I don't know. Even the phone hates me. So
I gotta go in through chat and see what's good. There's Stigler.
Mr. Stigler is in the house. John Longshore is here. I'm not 100% sure what's going on in the chat. Now I'm looking as well. So
No,
Christopher Prest,
Trevor,
I too am also enjoying your Devil Creek content, so keep that up. So Carl says that he's got both an iPad and an Android phone. So yeah, I used to get questions. We didn't ever support tablets. We told ourselves that, but we de facto did when somebody would have a tablet. When some big shot would have a tablet, and you got to support them regardless of what you're supposed to do or not. So, because it was just that kind of company. So I have fixed the ticker. So I appreciate the heads up on the typo. Hux, welcome back to the stream. First of all, thoughts on tweezers. So I play a lot of games that, there's people that don't play with tweezers, and I envy those people too, and they're tiny, delicate surgeon-like fingers. But I play with tweezers if it's any kind of dense game at all.
Yeah, I got fingers, man. Forget it.
There's you can buy them. I think you can buy tweezers from Decision. If you just go to Amazon and look for surgical tweezers, then you'll come across some that work pretty well. Actually, do I have my tweezers?
Oh. Yeah, I just bought some, and get the long ones, the 15-inch ones there.
Yeah, no. These are 7-inch tweezers. They're the ones with the curved, with the bent things. You just go right in there. Chances are when you get them, they'll be too tight, and you'll have to stretch them out a little bit. And you got to be subtle with this. You may want to bend the tines in just a little bit so that you could get in and grab the bottom counter of stacks. If they're like straight up and down, you can have problems with most games because these counters are not like machine precision cut, you know? So,
And that's another thing about Space Empires. You don't have to stack. You just put a number under the one ship, and it tells you how many ships you got.
yeah, and the hexes are big, and the counters, I think, are either 9/16 or 5/8 inch counters. So, there's no real stacking required almost ever. I'm not seeing any freezing stream over here on my side, so I'm going to assume that is on your side, Carl. Let us know if it continues happening. There are folks that use the super long tweezers. I can't. I end up dropping them and scattering counters everywhere, and it's bad. It's bad news. So I should actually do a tweezer video, but you know, lots of us don't need to use tweezers because we're not playing stuff like OCS or whatever.
A tweezer video.
A tweezer video. I've done multiple counter clipper videos, and those are popular videos too, for that matter.
Damn.
So I should do another how to use. What's that?
Sounds like a Frank Zappa tune, the tweezer video.
I should do an updated Stuke, the legendary Stuke Joe in the house.
No, see, I can't see.
I'm not seeing anybody. I hate this stream.
He's not there.
Well, there we go.
There
is Mr. Stuka Joe himself. So, Joe, welcome back. Great, always great to have you. Yeah, Christopher pressed. We were trying that with the RPG stream on Sundays as well, but that's been a little more. I mean, we kind of started and then I started moving. So we're hoping to stabilize. We have a show planned for next Sunday, so we're hoping to stabilize it every 2 weeks after that. So, top 5 4X games. They're all going to be computer games. I don't consider Twilight Imperium to be a 4X game. It's only got 3 X's. That's why there's really no exploration content in it. Unless you play with some of the expansion stuff brings that in, but there's really no exploration content in it. I love Space 4X games. A lot of the PC games that I play end up being Space 4X games. Stellaris is really good. There's a Stellaris board game coming out from Academy Games that gotta probably make a fairly big splash. I don't really know a lot about it because I don't know that I think Stellaris will translate all that well to a board game format. I don't think all of the elements of Stellaris that I like will translate into a board game format. Eggy Crypto, I agree, but a lot of times TI is lumped in as a 4X game, and I don't think it's 4X.
I thought it was out already, Stellaris.
The computer game is. Far as I know, the board game from Academy is still coming. But maybe I missed it. That's not impossible.
Yeah, I'm supposed. I mean, Uwe and I tried to get in touch, but he's a busy guy. He's a busy guy.
He's a very busy guy. John Longshore is asking if that's a milking machine. No, it looks like I don't know. Do you have a milking machine nearby? I mean, Dan does live in Canada. You never know what they got up there.
What's he talking about? A milking machine?
Now, I will use for video making. Some of us use tweezers because you could point at things on that that are on camera. So there are other reasons to use tweezers when making videos, other than just you need them to handle the pieces. So, you know what I'm saying? I fat finger counters all the time, and if they're 1/2-inch counters, man, I'm using tweezers. I don't care about spacing at all. I'm using tweezers on 1/2-inch counters. So,
where do you see a milking machine?
I don't know. I see like a picture of a violin or something up just above your head.
It's a viola, by the way.
A viola, violin, whatever the big one's called. I don't know. Bassoon or some shit like that.
A double bass, man.
There you go.
Bassoon. Yeah.
So I ordered. So I got a couple games coming. I ordered some stuff from Miniature Market, and apparently they're in the middle of a warehouse move. It's been 10 days and they haven't shipped it yet. So I sent them a polite email this morning. CDC. What's that place in Atlanta? CDL. Games Warehouse in Atlanta. I ordered something from them. I got a shipping confirmation and a tracking number like 15 minutes later. So, but they're happy to take. I'm not talking about CDL. I've had good luck and relations with Miniature Market for a long time, but I haven't ordered anything from them lately. And maybe it's just unhappy mischance that I've got happen to catch them in the middle of moving their warehouse. But I'm not a huge fan of a vendor taking your money right away, but then waiting 2 to 4 weeks to ship stuff to you. CLS games.
I mean, welcome to Canada.
Yeah, so, I got. I'm not talking about shipping delays, right? I mean, there's nothing that the vendor can do about that. I ordered from Grey Rooster too. Boom, it was here. I ordered on. I could swear I ordered on Monday after close of business, and I had it on Thursday. So they even beat the post office. The post office was telling me it's going to show up on Friday. It showed up on Thursday.
What's Grey Rooster?
On the other hand, it's a website that sells war games at probably the best discount you're going to find anywhere now that NWS is gone. Not quite as good a discount as NWS, but he didn't keep your money for 3 months without shipping you anything either. So he ships packs really well, ships immediately. Big fan. Very old school website. You literally fill out a form at the bottom, tell him what you want, say send me an invoice. He sends you an invoice. You pay him at PayPal. So
didn't he just pass, the guy from NWS?
That was last year sometime, if I'm not mistaken. But no, that was definitely last year sometime. Unless it was very early this year, and I don't think so. I think it was last year. Yeah, so there is kind of news about that, by the way. So their digital product was Rule the Waves, and they eventually did a Rule the Waves 2. And it wasn't Christopher, I think that was his name, that ran the board war game side, that was really involved in that. They were just kind of like the front end for that. So the other people that were involved in the video game side of it, that Rule the Waves, are going to do a Rule the Waves 3. It's going to be released through Matrix Games. It's supposed to be out in Q1 of 2024. Hopefully they'll improve the interface, because the interface was basically a spreadsheet. The guy there is some video of it already on YouTube, by the way.
What was the name of the guy who passed? Christopher something, right?
Christopher Dean.
I interviewed that guy. Wasn't he a designer also?
No, I don't think so. There's another guy. Is it Christopher Davis with a very similar name? When I don't want to mix it up, because I don't want to pox the guy that's still alive, right? So I don't know. Top 5 Space 4X games. I liked Civilization, the old Francis Tresham Civilization from Avalon Hill as well, but that's not really a 4X game either. It's got some of those elements, but it doesn't really have an exploration thing.
Yeah, Trevor went to the ER, and they told him to euthanize himself.
Probably not.
In Canada, that is.
Battle games covering the ACW fighting around Spotsylvania Courthouse. That's not a well-covered topic, I can tell you that. Offhand, my memory is failing me, but you might check the Gamers Civil War Brigade series, which did a lot of battles that have otherwise not received a lot of coverage. That's where I would check that first. But you're right that that is not a topic that has been well covered. There's a lot of Civil War battles that haven't gotten a lot of coverage. But Monocacy Junction, there's only 2 or 3 games on that, for example. Fort Stevens, there's, I think, only 1 as far as I'm aware. So, yeah, Christopher Davis is the guy who sells on Constant Marketplace. And I think I bought stuff from him, too.
Is he a designer?
Maybe. I don't know. So, but yeah, a lot of people, while feeling bad for Christopher Dean, also felt bad about the money that Christopher Dean took and didn't ship them their products. So, in principle, I'm not particularly in favor of involuntary interest-free loans. So yep, agree with this. Absolutely agree with this. You could easily do a lot of you could get a lot of mileage out of late Civil War content. Charles Latour is asking about Napoleon's Wheel as a good starting point for the whole Napoleonic game series. So that's the library of Napoleonic battles. So there are a couple reasons to recommend Napoleon's Wheel. One, it's got a couple of small-ish battles in it. I don't think there's anything in there that's really super duper small. Not like Bonaparte and the Quadrilateral or a couple of the Peninsular War games. But there's a couple of small ones, and then there's a quite large one, which is Austerlitz. Okay. And that's not an unmanageably large battle. Don't get me wrong, but you know, it's nice to start with the smaller ones. So you've got a good mix of smaller battles and good sized battles, and you also have more scenarios than just battles. Most of the battles have at least 2 scenarios. The other advantage of buying Napoleon's Wheel is it is the last of the games in the series that comes with the deck. And it is the universal deck that will be used henceforth for all new games in the series. So if you don't have any games in the series, you don't want to separately buy the deck, which ends up costing you like 30 or 40 bucks, then buy Napoleon's Wheel because it's got the deck in it. And you'll use that same deck for all the games in the series moving forward. What's that?
How complex is that game?
Not particularly. Medium-ish complexity. It's not on the GMT 1 to 9 scale. I'd give it a 5. Okay. It's Napoleon's Last Battles with a little bit of extra chrome. It's not particularly it's not like super duper simple, but it's pretty easy. So Jack Thompson, new to wargaming. Well, welcome. Which game would be the best for solo play? So there's actually tons of solo games that are designed as solitaire games. And our resident expert on solitaire games, Stigler, will be happy to tell you all about it. So check out any of the solitaire offerings from Legion Wargames or GMT's got some good ones. It really depends on what you are topically interested in, and I can maybe give you specific recommendations based on any topics that you're interested in. If you're interested in, World War II air war combat, there's Target for Today and Target for Tonight, both of which are solitaire. They're both fairly heavy mechanically, but they're also very procedural and relatively easy to play, in my opinion.
If I can opine. If he's into air games, World War II, the Battle of Britain, RAF, but with Stuka Joe's flip cards. I'm telling you, easy peasy lemon squeezy with his cards.
So for clarity, the game you're talking about is called RAF. There is another game called Battle of Britain, and there's another game called Battle Over Britain, which is by the same designer as RAF.
Right.
So don't go find the wrong one. The current one is just called RAF. There's a big 3-inch box deluxe edition available from Decision Games right now. It's very nice. I have reservations about Decision Games products. That is not one that I have reservations about. And I think if Stuka Joe has done the sequence of play cards for that, yeah, download those from Board Game Geek. They will help you immensely.
Seamless.
So World War II, there you go. Another thing you might want to look at is Enemy Action Ardennes and Enemy Action Kharkov, both from Compass and also both from legendary designer, not just solitaire designer, although it seems like that in some ways, John Butterfield. Same designer as RAF, same designer as D-Day at Omaha Beach, which is from Decision and which is also outstanding. Any of the David Thompson Valiant Defense series, so Pavlov's House, or Enemy Soldiers in Postman's Uniforms is another one. Lanzerath Ridge, I think, is actually starting to ship now. I might be wrong; those might be like pre-release copies. So a lot of David's stuff in the World War II space, in particular, is a good thing to look at. Enemy Action is relatively complicated. That's true.
Yeah.
I think Pax Romana is very good, actually. But it is very, those of you who are familiar with Mr. Berg's work will understand what I mean when I say it's very Bergy. Sorry, very, very uncomfortable. So The Enemy Coast Ahead games from GMT are very good. I believe those are Jerry White
Fantastic.
games. They kind of teach you how to play, and it's not formally programmed instruction. They don't call it that, but that's basically what it is.
Pretty
Where they
close.
teach you it's like 10 scenarios, and they teach you the game a little bit at a time as you go through the scenarios. They're really good games.
Good for people like me.
So for World War II stuff specifically, you can look at out of print stuff like Patton's Best or B-17 Queen of the Skies by Avalon Hill, but B-17 Queen of the Skies has been, I think, surpassed. I think B-17 Queen of the Skies is a bit obsolete at this point because there are basically a huge pile of other games using that same model, that same sort of narrative, emergent narrative type solitaire game, from the Target for Today, Target for Tonight games to the Hunters, from all of the Gregory M. Smith designs, except possibly the Tank Ace game. That might be a little. I think that's the one's a little different, but a lot of these games follow that same B-17 Queen of the Skies model with better components and, generally speaking, better decision making. So I can't really recommend B-17 Queen of the Skies for anything other than nostalgia reasons at this point.
Tank Ace is not out, is it?
Ed Holtzman here says it starts to ship next week. I know it's right on the edge of coming. So, and that's a Gregory M. Smith from the Gregory M. Smith Games Factory, where he releases 10 games a year. It's not quite that much, but he's a prolific designer, that's for sure. I'm very much looking forward to the one with the boats, the Century boat, the Destroyer Convoy. I forget what it's called. The Destroyer Convoy one.
Atlantic Chase?
No. That's a very good game too. Very good game too. And I believe that has solitaire scenarios in it, but you're not going to get the full Atlantic Chase experience playing that solitaire. So I feel like Joe, I feel like Greg's designs hit a good sweet spot there where I think you could reasonably make a case that Target for Today overdoes it, and just gives you a million tables. There's a lot of stuff that goes into that, and it might, for some, it might overdo it a little bit. I don't object to that, but for some, it might overdo it a little bit. Where I think Greg hits a good sweet spot where he's given you enough random stuff happening off of various tables in the game to make it continue to be interesting and continue to be replayable, but not necessarily making it leaden in terms of game flow. Atlantic Sentinels is the game I'm thinking of. So this is really neat. This is coming from, I think, from Compass, right? So it's Gregory M. Smith game. You're playing, instead of the submarines hunting the convoys, you're playing the destroyers guarding the convoys. And you're going to be able to combine it with the Hunters, so you can actually play it opposed if you want. And that sounds really, really cool. I know it took Greg a while to figure out how to do that, and then he said he unlocked the puzzle, and it's coming pretty soon. So I'm very much looking forward to that. If John Stanley's talking about the SPI Wolfpack, I don't know. It's not a terrible game, but I think you can certainly find more up-to-date treatments of the topic. We put it that way.
Hey,
that is Western. What's that?
You ever play the Compass games, Steel Wolves? That series there?
No, I actually just got that. Should be, yeah, it's right behind me. Actually, I just got that at a private sale at Winterfest last February. So it looks neat. It's basically the entire Atlantic Battle for the Atlantic. You're playing the submarines. It's a solitaire game too, but it looks like if you try and play the campaign, it's a major project.
Well, isn't it point to point?
It is point to point, yeah. But it's like the whole war. You got like a counter for every single submarine, right? There's a lot going on there. Matt Taylor's, this is Western Front Ace. This has been in the works for a while as well. It actually looks pretty cool, I have to admit.
I created a rule in there, believe it or not.
Did you?
Yeah, and it's called the gallantry rule. If you're gallant and you let the guy go, you're +1 later on somehow.
Oh, that's a cool rule. Sure, why not? That was a thing that would happen at some parts of World War I air fighting. So this is obviously accurate. There's there's a lot of tables. You have to like determine the phase of the moon, and it's a lot. It really is a lot.
What game's he talking about?
Target for tonight,
Oh,
or target for today. They're basically the same game with just more detail. I wanted both of them because I like Lancasters. So thus, and obviously you want B-17s, right? Yeah,
is
I'm
it
not.
really?
I don't think it is because I don't think enough people are playing it. So, and it's a solitaire game, right? I think you can. I think the closest thing I can think of to a dedicated solitaire game that's a lifestyle game is Field Commander Napoleon from DVG. That is a wonderful game. You can spend a lot of time on it. It's really challenging. Some of the campaigns are a lot more challenging than others. The 1812 Russian campaign is very, very difficult, for example.
What about
So
Fields of Fire?
I haven't played enough Fields of Fire. I have it somewhere. I forget where. It's out on the table somewhere. One of the things I did on Friday, I got a lot of stuff done on Friday. I took all the games in the other room off the table, off the shelves, so that I can pull the shelves out, build the rest of the shelves, and then remount the shelves permanently to that wall. And I blew my back off. So doing it. So apparently that was all the books too. I mean, I got a lot done on Friday, so I'm glad. Grumbling Grugyard says that SPI's Wolfpack was great, simple, high-level strategic game for solo play. Yeah. I think it's not a bad game. And if you can get it cheap, you never know with those. Sometimes you can get them cheap, and sometimes you can't.
I just got Tokyo Express.
Oh, that's supposed to be really good. I haven't played it. Should be behind. I'm not going to twist to find it. Is if you see the blue Victory Games right there.
Oh, that's it,
Tokyo
eh?
Express. So I am more or less caught up with the P500s, and GMT's being nice to me after giving me the big stick early in the year where I had like a $500 P500 order. They're being nicer to me now because there's not much coming. But Battles for the Shenandoah, which I believe our man in Amsterdam, Stigler, had a hand in, was just billed pretty recently. So that ought to be coming sometime before the end of September, I would think. Something like that.
Talking about Stigler, where is he?
He's in the chat here. So Achilles, sorry, Turbo Swift Sword from Spitzer at nope, too much. Most Fearful Sacrifice is really nice. There is it's sold out already. I'm talking about a Most Fearful Sacrifice. It's already sold out, and there is going to be another printing, which they will probably kickstart as well. And we will be sure to amplify that news when it actually is announced. But there will be another printing. I would jump on it, preferably during the Kickstarter when you do. Spitzer Turbo Swift Sword is not worth $200. That person's crazy, and maybe he or she is lucky enough to also be in the same room with another crazy person that thinks it's worth $200 and will pay that. But I wouldn't. I think that's at the upper end of what you'd pay for a SPI version. Unpunched SPI version.
Hey, talking about crazy prices, the original Dune, what's it going for now?
The Avalon Hill Dune?
Yeah.
A lot less than it was because Gale Force 9 redid it. And it's the same. It's exactly the same game with updated graphics. It's a great game. It was at one point you could reliably get $200 for it. I think now it's probably in the under $100 range. But unless you specifically want an Avalon Hill copy, just buy the Gale Force 9 one. It's nicer. So yeah, well, it's regardless of the map art, it's not worth $200. It doesn't sell for $200. I would say if I were there's a reason to want the TSR version of this, the TSR version of Terrible Swift Sword, because what a lot of wargamers maybe have heard of but don't really fully haven't studied is that whole East Cavalry Field cavalry action that was happening near the main battlefield of Gettysburg while Gettysburg was raging. Okay. TSR, as Spitzer, did another game called Rebel Sabers, which includes a one map thing of that cavalry action that you can play with their version of Terrible Swift Sword. Now, you could probably nominally do that with this SPI version, but the map art won't match. So if you're going to do that, and I think it might be fun to try, then maybe you want the Spitzer version. But the maps are ugly, like real ugly, and the counters are also not great. Center TSR counters, bad TSR.
How much is a Benjamin worth? I'm Canadian.
That's $100. That's because Benjamin Franklin is on the bill.
I figured, yeah.
I had to explain it to you, because Canada. So Compass Games, Carrier Battles Philippine Sea. This is from the guy that did Carrier back from Victory Games, whose name is right on the tip of my tongue, and somebody will mention and embarrass me in the chat. But this all, I think this looks very interesting, and I'm very interested in seeing that. If you're into Gettysburg, if you want a big Gettysburg game that's big but not too big, and also has lots of scenarios to play smaller battles and engagements that are on that Gettysburg battlefield, I can't recommend The Most Fearful Sacrifice highly enough. And with probably the great legacy map of Rick Barber, because it's so big, it looks just so pretty.
As a solo game,
you could play it solitaire. It's effectively, it's not a chip pull game technically because there's cards, but it randomizes the same way. You'd be playing it two-handed, right? But where you're playing both sides. But yeah, you could solitaire that. It's pretty solitaire friendly. I am not the guy to ask about RTS games. I aggressively don't like RTS games. I played Sins of a Solar Empire, which was okay, and I played some StarCraft when StarCraft was new, and I played a little bit of Dawn of War. I think Dawn of War 2, the one which is like playing 40K, but you don't have to paint the miniatures, so that's nice. Ruh-roh. Stalingrad 42, if you don't have that already. I imagine they have it. I mean, it's more than $12, but
Time Tripper.
It's a good game. That's more than $12 as well. A lot of people swear by Raid on Saint Nazaire, actually.
So does Joe.
I haven't played it, so I can't really comment on it other than to observe that the component quality was pretty typical for Avalon Hill of the era, which means it has a pretty nice map. Rules are fine. Counters are pretty bad by modern standards. So
Stuka Joe actually sent me that game.
Oh, you get a lot of stuff, apparently. There you go. Yeah, Stalingrad 42's got the expansion out too now, which is basically just extra scenario or two. But still, it's cool that there's an extra scenario. And yeah, I don't think Noble Knight sells tweezers, but I could be wrong. And hey, codes in the video description in the ticker. So
RD Dookie, Jesus.
So yes and no. I think the size. So it's smaller, but the scale's different too, right? So it's smaller, but it's still a pretty big game. Long Street Attacks is still a pretty big game. If you want, but on the other hand, most of the Blind Swords games from Revolution Games are not that big and are fairly solitaire friendly because they're chip pull games. So highly recommended. But of all of them, Long Street Attacks is the biggest one. So I don't know if I'd recommend that to start with, but I mean, it's not like more complicated particularly. It's just bigger. But I believe it's 2 full-sized maps, which some people might have a footprint problem with.
Hey, Jeff Beeler says Terraforming Mars. Jeff, how is that game?
There we go.
I've got it. I've never played
the video game version or the board game version?
Board game.
I've played the board game. It's a good game. William Aarons, hello from Guatemala City. So, Stigler says he worked on the Vassal for the Stalingrad 42, but apparently it was not optimally organized. I think Terraforming Mars is the game I'm thinking of. Is that the one from
Um, Stronghold Games.
Yeah, hold on a second, because Steam's not cooperating with me here. Yeah, okay. So there's a video game version of that too, which I have no experience with, but I've played the board game several times, and it's a pretty good game.
Is it very a confrontational game? Is it very combative?
It's not very combative, but it is a competitive game. Yeah.
Yeah, because my wife ain't into combat, and she ain't into.
No, there's no fighting. You're just like it's all economic positioning is the theme, right? You're trying to terraform the planet and kind of come out on top when that process is finished.
Can you screw over people?
Yes.
It's over.
Well, you can always find a cooperative game. There's cooperative games. There's multiple other games on that topic if you're interested in that topic particularly.
It seems that cooperative games, once you get the system happening, once you get the trick of it, like Pandemic, it's like
Maybe. I have
yeah.
never played Pandemic.
Yeah. What
So,
at first you're all like, oh my god, this is so hard. But then when you figure it out, it's like, come on.
maybe. I'll tell you a game that I think is, as long as you're into like super thinky games, which is not nominally cooperative, but you could totally play it as a team. Excuse me. The Search for Planet X. It actually is an app-assisted game, and it's about finding Planet X. And it's basically a logic puzzle game, and I liked it a lot. I always liked logic puzzles, so. This is a good point. Pandemic Legacy might add some additional wrinkles to that experience, because it changes as you go, right?
Yeah.
That's what the legacy thing is supposed to do.
I know we're getting off topic here, but I have Aeon's End Legacy. I don't know how good that is. I just have it.
I have no experience with that whatsoever, so I can't even tell you. I got to tell you, we're about to hit my limit of ability. I can go another 17 minutes, but we're coming up close to my limits on sitting in this chair.
Are you on medication?
Just ibuprofen. I'm going to the doctor tomorrow, so that's as fast as I could get in. I wish. I really don't want to just pound more whiskey tonight because I'll run out of whiskey, and B, I don't really feel like I actually was a little hungover when I woke up on Monday trying to treat it that way, and it didn't really work. So,
no one's around you to get some Demerol?
No. All I gotta do is get up to Canada. Dan will give me the good medicine.
I think I got some in the cabinet. I don't even use it.
Probably. The Game Crafter is where I would check, but I'm not sure they do custom dice. No, I have no good drugs. I have over-the-counter nonsense that's just ibuprofen or high-powered ibuprofen or low-powered ibuprofen or Aleve or whatever.
Jesus, you look like you're in pain, man.
It really hurts.
Hey, look, cut it short.
I'm doing the best. Now we got 15 minutes. I'm going to go another 15 minutes. I can manage 15 minutes. So, yeah, this is what I'm talking about, but we don't have that here. It's actually, from what I was reading, it's actually hard to get in Ohio, but I certainly would qualify for it based on what I'm experiencing right now.
Hey, now you got such a big yard. Just throw a few seeds there, man. It'll grow wild.
That shit'll get you in jail. I'm not doing that.
Really?
Yeah, you can't just grow it. So I'm aware. We're going to resume playing the third winter this Thursday, and I can't drive. I'm going to have my wife drive me 8 minutes to the doctor in the morning. So, My honest opinion on this is you're probably better with a third party. You might check Noble Knight, for example. First of all, thank you, William. I appreciate the support. I would check Noble Knight. They tend to have a good handle on what it takes to lower the shipping costs to other countries. Now, I don't know about Guatemala specifically, but I know they've successfully managed to keep the costs to Canada down a lot lower than a lot of places can do. And there's tricks to that Noble Knight knows and that maybe other places don't know. So I would check them out. You might also check out some place that does free shipping over such and such number of dollars, which Noble Knight does, but I don't know if international shipping counts for that. Cool Stuff does, but Cool Stuff doesn't really sell war games. Miniature Market does, but I don't know what's going on with them right now because they got my order 11 days ago and I haven't shipped it yet. So I'm holding off on any recommendations with them. Gray Rooster, I don't know if they ship internationally at all. And frankly, I could have driven to him and picked the thing up. So this will totally happen ag grade day. And it's just I gotta be able to walk and I gotta get the room done, which is to finish that wall of shelves. So which is pretty close. It's not there yet. I have to get one shelf from IKEA. I got to get one 2x4 Kallax from IKEA to finish that wall. So this would be a great idea if we had a hot tub. I got room for a hot tub.
That guy.
Yeah. I mean, I've got some cream. I've got a CBD cream that I can't find that I'd love to find right now to put that on it. But there's a capsaicin cream that somebody recommended that I ordered. It's not going to be here till Thursday.
God, too bad you're living in the States, man. You come to Canada, you smoke something like a bat.
Yeah. This is not a bad price for None But Heroes, I hate to say. That's not a bad price. It's a little more than I paid for it, but I got a really good buddy deal. So I appreciate that. This is a thing that has been suggested. And I do not believe that this is an out of the question thing. However, it ain't happening this year. So, and it probably isn't happening in 2023 either. So maybe if we say 2024 might be a good time frame for that kind of thing to occur. Trying to get the camera to focus here.
Aren't you East?
I'm East, but Carl's not.
Come on, Carl.
There we go. That's not even, there we go. That guy got it to work. The funny thing is the higher quality camera actually has autofocus that's not quite as good. But the fact that I keep squirming around like I'm in agonizing pain is not helping the autofocus feature of the camera either. So we're not quite there yet. So yeah, I could have. I actually thought about buying Salon Paws, but I got other stuff. I don't know. It didn't seem like it was going to do anything. We might have some actually. I should ask my wife because she would have used them last if we did. So, like I said, I got some stuff. We'll see if I can find it.
But, yeah, I got some stuff too.
Yeah, I know you got the stuff. So let me get back to William Aaron's question. So GMT's got the Euro-friendly shipping still. Some other companies have tried to do that, and it's kind of fallen apart. And I think the GMT Euro-friendly shipping is still kind of expensive. So I'd explore other options. I mean, I'd prefer people buy direct from the manufacturers, but I don't do that all the time, right? Sometimes the manufacturer's price is $75 more. I just ordered another, because I'm an idiot, I just ordered another Labatt game, and the manufacturer's price is $70 more than I found it on BGG Marketplace, which is pretty much back up, by the way.
Jesus.
Yeah, I just got lucky though. So
70 US, that's like $1 million.
Yeah, I know. You know how much 420 you can buy with that? So even more here in Ohio, where you got to risk life and limb getting shot by the cops. We looked at the massage thing too. I didn't make a massage appointment. I made a chiropractor appointment instead. We'll see what they can do. I'm taking tomorrow. I'm going to end up taking most of tomorrow off. I got one thing that I have to do it for work tomorrow. So but I'm certainly not driving in. There's no way. Yeah, I don't have. The trouble is I don't have a muscle like a prescription muscle relaxer because I think that would help. But I don't have that, so I got to actually get into the doctor. I've never had surgery. I have technically had surgery, but it was the most minor surgery imaginable. It took 5 minutes. So,
God,
so
look, it looks like you're gonna
no, I
blow
could
some
take a
cheese.
crap. Yeah, probably. So. I suspect it's sciatic. I got a pinched nerve. I think that's what it is. That's why I made the chiropractor appointment. If he can kind of work it out, it might be a lot better. And I don't want to mess around with it because I've had a situation before where it just kept getting worse, and I became more and more immobile and couldn't walk and couldn't like do things. And it was like went on for months. And I didn't want to continue taking 16 ibuprofen a day either. So
Nah,
because that'll blow your liver up, right? Or your
yeah.
kidneys or something. So right now, I didn't feel like the Aleve was doing me any good at all. So I switched back to the ibuprofen, which is also a anti-inflammatory. So if it's being caused by inflammation or is causing inflammation, then that should help keep that under control. But you can't tell right now. That's true. I've spent almost a whole day in bed, to be honest.
And how is
So
it when you're in bed, man? Is it? Can you lie down?
if I am lying down flat on my back and then I can relax for about 5 minutes, it's pretty comfortable. If I go to turn over, and I can't stay laying on my back like for hours at a time. I'll want to roll over one way or the other, and that's painful. So, so I should probably ice it. That's probably a good idea, but I don't know if it's muscular or not. Right? If you don't know if it's muscular, that might not do any good.
Nah, it doesn't sound muscular, my friend. Sounds like it's nerves.
I think it's nerves. So anyway, yeah, definitely will not be doing any disco dancing over here. Yeah, I guess they just left you lying in a ditch to die, apparently. So somebody sent me looks like a Pilates style little exercise regimen to strengthen the lower back, and as soon as I can actually move again, I would actually probably good idea to start that because this is the kind of situation I really don't want to keep having this happen. It becomes more and more important to do that kind of thing as you get older and older. Yes, it does.
Well,
Not all the way down, but it extends well down into the hip.
it sounds sciatic to me.
Yeah, that's why I think it's nerves.
Does it go down one ass cheek in the middle of your ass cheek?
Yeah, pretty much.
Sciatic.
Yeah. So, shuffling party. You're just gonna sit in the chair and rock. This sucks.
I'm laughing, but I'm laughing with you, man.
And hemorrhoids, which I fortunately do not have. So
Jesus.
that's a good thing. So, yep, we think it's probably sciatica. So
hemorrhoids could be taken care of with a Dremel drill.
ooh, that's a dramatic way to take care of that particular problem, I gotta
Come
say.
on.
But they can be taken care of. You can get them surgically removed. So man, I wish I could have some good steroids right about now. I love steroids. Steroids make me feel great. A lot of energy. Get up and do stuff. Yeah, this is great. I love steroids. Unfortunately, if you take too much steroids, your nuts fall off. So,
well, they shrink,
or assorted problems ensue. So,
but if they shrink, they make your pee-pee look bigger.
Never really thought of it that way. But definitely not. Yeah. So, yeah, this is if it's spasms, it's actually where I haven't actually fallen over, but it's been real close. as long as I'm taking it super, super easy, and shuffling around real slow, and there's nothing like something I drop something or something like that, or I don't misjudge a step. I misjudged the bottom step
Oh,
this morning and was literally reduced to tears.
oh,
So
Jesus.
so it was bad. So I have actually not played Wilderness War. It is a Vocal Runke game. It's very, very well regarded. It is more wargamey than a lot of the stuff that Volco is better known for now, meaning coin and
Levy.
Levy and Campaign series, which there's a whole huge landscape of people working on new Levy and Campaign games. So, Devil Dance Discount Proctology. There you go.
This guy kills me, man.
Yeah, I liked this one too. So he had a hemorrhoid once, but he had his brother-in-law removed. William, thank you so much. Much appreciated. Turns out he's got a nephew that's a history teacher and who's running an RPG in the class and is interested in war games. I think depending on topic, I think there's a lot of potentially good games. Generally speaking, the GMT has good availability, meaning there's a lot of other vendors that stock GMT. That this is much more true of GMT and maybe secondarily Compass than a lot of other vendors. Like a lot of these places that I listed above don't sell multi-man stuff. They just don't deal with it because I don't know why, but they don't. Cool Stuff did, but Miniature Market never did. There's other places you can go for multi-man, for example, but everybody carries GMT because their stuff's real popular. So I'd check Noble Knight, see if they can work something out. They might be able to work out some kind of package deal. I don't know. Talk to them. They're very what I'm telling you is they're very amenable to you talking to them, right? To see if you can work something out. So,
I know there's a place in Montreal called the Jack of Hearts there, EYAWTKAW, and they ship through Canada $5. So they might have an international shipping that's actually reasonable.
that's actually a good point. You might want to check the Sentry Box too. World's largest game store in metropolitan Calgary, Alberta. So, which is supposed to be fabulous. Did you go there, Dan?
In Calgary, it's 3,000 miles away.
Well, it's probably not 3,000. It's probably like 2,400.
500 easy.
Still, I don't know. It's a ways away. So what? Don't you want to take the high-speed Canadian bullet train?
No, I got to go through Saskatchewan where that guy just stabbed 10 people.
Yeah, but that happens once a year in Canada, and it happens like literally every day here. So, I think the coin games might be interesting for a classroom. Levy Campaign, same way, but other non-series stuff from GMT. You don't want anything too heavy, I don't think. But like Zheng He, which is coming from David Thompson and Jeff Engelstein from GMT. That's not out yet, but I think that might be a really interesting classroom use stuff. Gamers Armory is like a metropolitan hub for a GMT, but I don't think Gamers Armory has a really, I could be wrong about this. I'd be happy to be wrong. Has a really robust online ordering system. I know you can just call them up and they'll figure it out, but so Churchill, Versailles 1919, these are good ones too, actually. I think Churchill's actually a little simpler, I think. Versailles 1919 has a lot of moving pieces to it, more so than I think Churchill does. Churchill's fantastic, by the way, and Versailles really pretty good too. I gotta say, the one I have in that series, the Great Statesman series, that I have not managed to figure out is Pericles. I set it up, I push pieces around. I'm like, I have no idea what I'm doing here. And I put it away. So at some point I'll try it again. But in the meantime, I'll be happy to buy whatever they would like to do in that series. So, all right, Dan, it's 8:30. I'm calling it because I gotta walk very slowly up the stairs to find the easy chair to sit in that reclines that I'll then have a lot of trouble extracting myself from in another hour.
I just want to say something to Kilroy. Hey, Kilroy, that's disgusting.
Am I missing something here?
Yeah, it's disgusting. He's gross, man.
I feel like I'm missing comments here. I don't know.
Yeah, I
I
think
don't
you're becoming
understand.
delirious.
That's possible. That's possible. I'm not exactly top focus right now. All right, everybody have a great night. We'll be back next week on Dan's show. Tune in Thursday for an unboxing over here, and then next Monday's counterclipping stream at 8 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. And we'll see everybody then. Have a great week.
See you, Artie.